Alright, good morning folks. Last day in Oklahoma, and it looks like we're starting with turtles again. Hello, sir. Best if you don't stick out here, someone's gonna run you over. Come on, let's get across. You're a pretty one, you know that? Let's get you across this little ditch. There you go. Scoot, scoot. Scoot, scoot. Or not. We got some nice colors though. And we got another turtle. This one's a red-eared slider and he's moving. Hey, come here, hold on. Hold on, just a sec. You are in a hurry. These guys are very common out here. He's a pretty guy. And no surprise that he's moving right now because all that rain has made an absolute mess of the roads out here, so there's moisture everywhere for them. Great time for them to move from one body of water to the next. He's got a pretty colorful shell too for a red ear. Alright, we'll stop bothering you and let you on your way, okay? Yeah, we got the local cleanup crew doing their job on the road out here. Because people apparently just can't manage to avoid the big animals crossing the road. Although with the armadillos I did discover kind of why it's hard to avoid them. They'll walk right into the car. Oh, this one is a little different. So this is what tells you we are switching into a different habitat zone again. Because this is your western ornate box turtle, not the three-toed. Hey sir, there you go. Scoot, scoot. So there is one major drawback of trying to road cruise herping in Oklahoma in the car that I have. And that is, if it rains, any road that has any significant amount of dirt or silt in its composition is going to become immediately impassable for me because it just turns to mud that makes me slide and stick everywhere. So, most of the area that I had been hoping to try and visit today is exactly that kind of quality. And so my last chance, I think, today at finding a timber rattlesnake is over. And we are going to have to start a bit of a strategic reassessment here. I'm hoping as I go a little bit further northwest, things will have been drier, because right here where I'm at the edge of the timber range, is also kind of the edge of the major storm range down here, where things have been getting really wet recently. So there is a chance for things like western diamondbacks and hognoses and such up where I'll be heading through, but kind of a fingers crossed at this point that we can find anything. Alright, so stopped on the side of a road to do some flipping because damn, I needed something to do. And it's not a snake. We do have a little scorpion right there who was hiding under the rocks. If I can get him out here. There he is. And there he goes. And another. There are actually two. And they've both gone down into there now. People, it's been all day. There it is. Oh, the first snake. We aren't skunked. Oh, and it's a beautiful big western diamondback rattlesnake. Alright, so this is something that I've really wanted to see. I don't want him to get off the road just yet. So we're gonna over here for just a second, dude. Okay? No. Come on. Not yet. These are quite different looking from the ones we see in Arizona. This is much darker. He's got some beautiful yellows under him. I've already got a couple of photos, so if I really can't keep him corralled for a little bit, then that's okay. Oh, he's a heavy guy too. Probably a good, 4 feet plus. Hold on, dude. Don't leave just yet. This is about the northernmost range for them too. There's an introduced population up in Kansas, but naturally this is about as far as they come, just a little bit further up in Oklahoma. Anyway, I'm gonna get a couple more photos and then let him move where he was going. Yep, down in Arizona you can even see examples from previous videos, even just earlier this year that we've seen. The color of these animals you expect to generally be some sort of shades of like light grays, peaches, pinks, sandy colors. As you move further north and further east though, the environment changes and those colors aren't quite as useful for these guys. They're not as adaptive. So instead, these ones are adapted more to browns and bright yellows and different shades of tan, sharp contrasty colors to help blend into the grasslands, the trees, the forest, the darker rocks that they inhabit around here. Still the same animal though, go all the way down deep into Mexico, across to the edge of California, or all the way over into Arkansas, still the same species of snake. Genetically similar enough that they don't even split them into different subspecies. They're same, they just have slightly different, basically paint jobs, depending on where you go in the country. All right, and there he goes, off into the weeds. Very large, very beautiful western diamondback. Was not happy about me coming up on him. So as people across the country are probably aware, the weather has just been weird this year everywhere. Rainy way down in the central and southern parts of Oklahoma. As I came up here, it was still raining in a lot of places, so a lot cooler than I was expecting, and did put a damper on things. It was almost 6 o'clock before I found that snake. I kept moving a little bit further north, cruising the roads, got some beautiful shots of some rainbows as they would pass by, found the one open patch of sunlight coming through, and that's brought me this guy. All right, it looks like we are going to be ending this week with a real bang. I went flying out of the car, didn't even think to turn on the GoPro because I saw this thing go right underneath my car and was flying off the road. He has no legs, but this is not a snake. This is something much, much less common. This is the western slender glass lizard, a legless lizard. You can see where his vent is there, and all the rest of him is tail. Would you believe it? This is the westernmost species of glass lizard. Before you start getting to some of their somewhat distant relatives on the west coast in the genus Agnella, all the rest of them are very much eastern coastal plains animals. That is incredible. So we're going to get a couple of photos and then let him go. But before I do, real quick, you might notice, if you look really close, he has ear holes. Something that no snake has. And he will also blink on occasion because he has eyelids, something that snakes also don't have. That is amazing. It's definitely a very rare occasion where a lizard is going to excite me more than a snake is, but this was definitely one of them. Now granted, snakes technically are a type of lizard. They're one very specific clade, and there are many other different kinds of legless lizards out there, all convergently evolved onto the same general body plan because it was useful for them. Usually there's some sort of burrowing animal and legs just get in the way. These guys are, again, the westernmost variety of glass lizard in the US, and they have a very odd kind of spotty, broken distribution throughout kind of the Midwestern states. Right where I was is right at the edge of their known range, moving towards the Oklahoma Panhandle. They kind of loop down and over into the Texas handle further south, south, but they kind of disappear within the actual panhandle. So this was right on the edge of that range. So a very special find because they're uncommon as is wherever you go generally, unless you happen on a really good population somewhere. Being right at the edge makes this a very, very uncommon thing, especially since he was found in a burn area. There wasn't a whole lot of cover, not a whole lot of vegetation left in this area, so probably not a whole lot of these guys hanging around anymore in this space. And again, a quick reminder, there's a lot of differences between like this guy and true snakes. Snakes are defined particularly by a number of structures that all have to be present or all have to be absent. They all have scales that cover their eyes because they do not have eyelids. No snake has external ear holes. Snakes do not have a gular fold like these guys do or a lateral fold, along their side. And snakes are most of their length is actually made up of the trunk, the main part of the body, before the vent. In most legless lizards, most of their length, much like many other lizards, is actually going to be the tail after the vent. Alright, dude, you were flying off the road over here. There's a bit of a ditch. Let's see, where were you exactly? You were right about over here. Cannot believe that I caught you, but let's get you up over this ditch so you have a little better chance at finding some good space, huh? Alright, ready, dude? You may go now. And there he goes. Well, most of him. Go on. Sir. You should go. Okay, you'll figure it out. Late as it was starting to get, and as cool as it was becoming as well, it was already down to barely 70 degrees at this point. I expected the legless lizard would probably be the last reptile I would see that day. I did stop for a couple cool flowers and then sat down for dinner at a local state park to sit and watch the birds and other wildlife in the area, so a few more things to see before the night really wrapped up, but reptiles were just about done. Not the most flattering view of an eastern kingbird, but we're sitting in a little state park here. It's kind of cool for reptile activity now, so I think the night's probably going to finish with a handful of birding shots like this guy. There's a lot of calls going on around me that I have no idea what they are. Hello, sir. And across the way in the park, there is deer. With far fewer ticks on her ears than the ones we saw yesterday in the other state park. And there's now more than one deer over here. There's that one, which I think has been hanging around for a while. And then there's another one that's joined her. Whitetails are a lot less common in my state, or at least where I live in my state. They're the primary deer that are out here, though. Very common. And unfortunately, in some places, a little too common because we've removed their main predators. Alright, folks. I think we're going to have to call it here now. Everywhere else that I am heading tonight is going to be fairly cold, and in some places rainy, so there is not going to be, well, pretty much anything out and about from this point on. But I have to say, as far as finding things goes, getting a Slender Glass Lizard as the last reptile in Oklahoma is a pretty darn good finish. So it's going to be a little while before the next trip that I take out, whether or not that's around locally where I live or off to the next state trip that I try and take, but we'll see. Either way, there are more adventures coming up this year, so if you'd like to see more, also if you'd like to help support trips like this and the educational materials that I'm able to produce from them, consider joining at patreon.com/hcarlton. You get early access to the videos from joining there. You also get exclusive access to seed contests, merchandise, and more. If you can't do a monthly subscription like that, there's also one-time donations that we can take at coffee. That link will also be in the description below. And if you can't support financially, of course, make sure to just like, subscribe, share the videos, because attention to the channel definitely helps. And if you'd like to see more photos, tidbits, video clips, and so on, you can always find me on social media at Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Carlton Carnivores. But until next time, this is finishing out our Oklahoma trip. I'm Hawken Carlton, and this is Carlton Carnivores.